Hey everyone, I'm Megan. Before I dive into my story, please make sure to like and subscribe for more tales. Growing up, I always felt like I was living in the shadow of my sister Lily. No matter how hard I studied, how many trophies I brought home, or how much I accomplished, it was like I was invisible. Lily was the star, the golden child, and our parents never let me forget it. Even in high school, where I was at the top of my class and captain of the track team, you'd think I'd get some recognition, right? Wrong. Every dinner conversation revolved around Lily's latest bakery projects or her weekend plans. If I dared to share something about my day, I'd get a patronizing, "That's nice, Megan," before the conversation would snap right back to Lily. It wasn't just annoying. It hurt deeply. To cope, I threw myself into my studies and focused solely on my own life. When the time came, I landed a full-ride scholarship to college. My best friend's dad, seeing how things were at home, offered to help with any additional expenses. Honestly, he's been more of a father to me than my own ever was. One day, while I was packing for college, my mom came into my room with that look on her face, the one she gets when she wants something. "Megan, we need to talk," she said, sitting down on the edge of my bed. "What is it?" I asked, keeping my eyes on my packing. "It's about Lily," she started. "Her bakery isn't doing well, and we've had to take some financial risks to keep it afloat." I zipped up my suitcase and faced her. "What does that have to do with me?" "We've taken out a third mortgage on the house," she confessed, "and we're struggling to make ends meet. We need you to reconsider your scholarship, maybe stay home and help out with the family business." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All these years they hadn't invested a dime in my future, but now they expected me to give up my dreams for Lily? "No," I said firmly. "I've worked too hard for this. I'm going to college." The conversation that followed was a blur of shouting and tears. My dad called me selfish, and Lily accused me of trying to ruin her life, but I stood my ground. Moving day finally came, and as I loaded up my car, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was finally getting out, starting my own life on my terms. As I drove off, I didn't look back. I knew the road ahead would be tough, but for the first time, it was mine to shape. One chilly autumn evening, I was in my dorm room, halfway through a sociology essay when my phone rang. The screen flashed my mom's name, and a knot formed in my stomach. I hadn't spoken to my parents since I left home, and I wasn't eager to start now, but curiosity got the better of me, and I answered. "Hello. Megan, we need to talk." Mom's voice was strained, heavier than usual. "It's about the family." I paused, taking a deep breath to steady myself. "What's going on?" "It's your sister's business. It's failing, Megan. We've tried everything. It's just not working. We're in trouble." I felt a twinge of sympathy for Lily, but it was quickly overshadowed by apprehension about what they might ask of me. "I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't see how." "We took out a third mortgage to keep the bakery afloat." She cut in, her voice desperate. "We're drowning in debt, and we need your help." The words hit me like a ton of bricks. Not only had they jeopardized their financial stability for Lily, but now they expected me to bail them out. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "We need you to come home," Mom said plainly. "Put off school for a while. Help manage the finances and the bakery. We can't do this without you." The request was ludicrous. They wanted me to give up everything I had worked for, everything I had escaped from, to save them from decisions I had no part in. Anger flared up inside me, but I kept my voice calm. "No, Mom, I won't do that. I'm not leaving school." There was a pause on the line, a heavy silence that seemed to stretch on forever. Then my dad's voice came through, harsh and accusatory. "You're going to let your family fail after all we've done for you." The irony of his words was almost laughable. "All you've done?" "Seriously?" I countered. "I'm on a scholarship, Dad, one I earned without any help from you. I've made it clear where I stand." Mom tried again, her voice softer this time. "Megan, please think of it as helping your sister. You wouldn't want her to suffer, would you?" But I was done being manipulated. "Lily needs to sort out her own problems. I have my future to think about." "You're being incredibly selfish, Megan," Dad snapped. "You're a part of this family whether you like it or not." "I am," I replied, "but I'm not sacrificing my dreams for Lily's mistakes. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but it's not my responsibility to fix it." The conversation ended shortly after, with Dad muttering something about disappointment before hanging up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling both liberated and alone. It was the first time I had stood up to them so definitively. It felt right, though it also stung. I turned back to my essay, but my mind was elsewhere. I knew this wouldn't be the end of it. They would come after me, try to guilt me into submission. But I was ready for it. For the first time in my life, I was truly ready to fight for myself. It was just another Tuesday, bustling with the usual campus energy. Students were milling about between classes, and I was at the student center, grabbing a coffee before my next lecture, when I felt a sudden chill. Looking up, my heart sank. Standing across the room were my parents and Lily, their faces grim. I hadn't expected them to come here, to my world. As they approached, I could feel the eyes of everyone around us, curious about the impending drama. Mom was the first to speak, her voice loud enough to draw even more attention. "Megan, we need to talk now." Taking a deep breath, I stood my ground. "We can talk, but I'm not changing my mind." Dad's face was red with frustration. "You're really going to embarrass us like this in front of everyone?" "It seems you're doing a fine job of that yourselves," I replied, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Lily then stepped in, her tone mocking. "Look at Megan, everyone, too good for her own family now that she's a college girl." I clenched my fists, fighting to keep my composure. "This isn't about being too good, Lily. This is about me living my life, not cleaning up your messes." The conversation escalated quickly, voices rising. Mom pleaded, tears in her eyes. "Megan, please, we're your family. You can't turn your back on us." "You turned your back on me a long time ago," I shot back, "when you decided that Lily's bakery was worth more than my future." Dad scoffed, shaking his head. "You're just jealous. Jealous of Lily's success." "Success?" I laughed bitterly. "Is that what you call bankruptcy and a third mortgage?" Patrons of the student center were now openly staring, whispers circulating. The humiliation was palpable. But I couldn't let them win. "I am not responsible for Lily's business failures. I am not responsible for your poor financial choices. I am only responsible for myself." Mom's voice cracked as she said, "You're being selfish, Megan. When will you see that?" "No, Mom, I'm being sensible. You may not understand that, but I have to look out for my own future, because it's clear you won't." The argument reached a fever pitch, with Dad calling me a disappointment and Lily accusing me of ruining the family. As they stormed out, Dad threw down a crumpled bill on the table, not nearly enough to cover their order. It was just like them to leave a mess for me to clean up. As they left, the weight of their words hung heavy in the air. I felt the stares, the judgment from those who didn't understand. But among those looks, I saw others, nods of support from peers who respected my courage. I sat back down, my coffee untouched and cold, feeling both defeated and victorious. I knew then that standing up for myself would mean losing them. But perhaps that was the price of finally being free. As the chatter resumed around me, I realized this confrontation was a turning point. There was no going back, only forward. After the confrontation with my family at the student center, I felt emotionally raw and drained. Needing a change of scenery and some comfort, I headed to the one place I always felt welcomed. The little diner just off campus where I was a regular. The bell above the door jingled as I entered, a familiar and comforting sound. The warm, inviting smell of coffee and freshly baked pies enveloped me. This was my refuge, a place where I could just be Megan, not a pawn in my family's drama. As I slid into my usual booth, Jenny, one of the owners, noticed the distress on my face right away. She came over with a concerned look, a pot of coffee in hand. "Hey Megan, rough day?" she asked as she poured me a cup. I nodded, managing a small smile. "You could say that." Jenny sat across from me, her expression sympathetic. "Want to talk about it, or I can just sit here and listen." Taking a deep breath, I prepared to finally share my story with someone who truly cared. I recounted the entire ordeal, the unexpected visit from my parents and Lily, the heated argument, their harsh accusations, and how they left me feeling exposed and humiliated in front of my peers. As I spoke, Jenny's frown deepened, her eyes reflecting a growing indignation on my behalf. "That's just not right, Megan," she said, her voice firm with conviction. "You've always been kind and hardworking. You don't deserve any of this." At that moment, Tom, Jenny's husband and co-owner of the diner, joined us with a plate of my favorite chocolate chip cookies. He'd overheard a bit of our conversation and slid the plate in front of me. "You know, kid," he began, "blood isn't always family. Sometimes family is the people who stand by you when the storm hits. His words, simple yet earnest, struck a deep chord within me. Here were these two wonderful people who knew little about my personal life until now, showing me more parental care and understanding than my own family had in years. Jenny squeezed my hand gently, her warmth and sincerity palpable. "We're here for you, Megan," she reassured me. "Whatever you need, you're part of our diner family and we look out for each other." Tears welled up in my eyes as I felt overwhelmed by their kindness and support. "Thank you, both of you," I managed to say, my voice thick with emotion. "It means more than you know." As we continued talking, the warm environment of the diner, along with the gentle clatter of dishes and the murmur of conversations around us, gradually lifted my spirits. It reminded me that there were people who valued and appreciated me for who I was. My connection with Jenny and Tom underscored a crucial lesson. Family isn't just about blood relations. It's about those who stand by your side, who support and believe in you. Rejuvenated by their encouragement, I left the diner that evening with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The weight of my family's expectations and criticisms felt lighter, knowing I had people who believed in my choices and my future. This newfound strength bolstered my resolve to forge ahead with my education and life, defining success on my own terms. As I walked back to my dorm under the starry sky, I realized that while the road ahead might be lonely at times, I wasn't truly alone. The support from unexpected quarters like Jenny and Tom had given me a surrogate family, a safe harbor in the storm, and for that, I was profoundly grateful. They had shown me that sometimes you have to choose your family, and that choice can bring a peace and happiness that blood relations may not always provide. Months rolled by, each one bringing me closer to my goals. My grades were excellent, I was involved in key campus activities, and I had started an internship that promised a bright future. As I thrived academically and personally, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that was entirely my own creation. This new chapter of my life was marked by independence and genuine support from friends and mentors who believed in my potential. One crisp morning, as I scrolled through the news on my phone before class, a headline caught my eye. It was about Lily's Bakery. Apparently, it had been embroiled in a major health scandal. Reports detailed unsanitary conditions and multiple violations that had gone unchecked. The fallout was catastrophic. The bakery was shut down, and the media storm that followed tarnished the family name irreparably. Sitting in the quiet of the library, a complex mix of emotions washed over me. There was no pleasure in seeing Lily and my parents suffer, yet there was a grim sort of inevitability to it. Their reckless choices, the years of bending rules and expectations to favor Lily, had finally caught up with them. It was a stark reminder of how far removed I was from that world of chaos and neglect. In the following weeks, news of their financial ruin became the talk of the town. My parents had invested everything into the bakery, ignoring all other responsibilities, including their own well-being. With the business gone, they were left with nothing but debts and regrets. A harsh, self-inflicted reality that they had to face alone. Despite the turmoil back home, my life on campus was flourishing. I reflected on the stark contrast between my steady rise and my family's dramatic fall. It wasn't just about financial or social standing. It was about personal integrity and making choices that aligned with my values and ambition. I had chosen a path of hard work and honesty, distancing myself from the toxic dynamics that had dominated my early life. One evening, as I discussed my future plans with my mentor, Professor Hawkins, he remarked on the resilience and determination I had shown. "Megan, it's not just about surviving the storm," he said thoughtfully. "It's about finding a way to dance in the rain." His words resonated deeply with me. Yes, I had endured much, but more importantly, I had grown. I had built a life that was not defined by my family's expectations or failures, but by my own successes and the community I had chosen. As I walked back to my dorm that night, the campus paths illuminated by the soft glow of street lamps, I felt a profound sense of peace. The struggles with my family seemed like a distant storm, one whose echoes no longer reached me. In its place was a quiet confidence in my own abilities and choices. I knew there would be more challenges ahead, but I also knew I had the tools and the support to face them. My family's downfall, while tragic, was a result of their own actions, a fate they had crafted through years of missteps. As for me, I was building something different, something sustainable and true. As I closed the door to my room, A smile touched my lips. It was the smile of someone who had not just survived, but thrived, someone who had taken control of her destiny and was ready to face whatever the future held with open arms and an unbreakable spirit.